Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like everywhere you turn these days, everybody's talking about real estate,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To like scroll through your feed and it's all, oh, look at my friend's new house,
Right.
or complaining about rent or whatever. So today we are going to tackle the Winnipeg market.
Okay.
We asked you to send in some stuff, and you sent us this report from the Winnipeg Regional Real Estate Board. So we are going to break it all down, figure out what's really going on.
Sounds good.
Is Winnipeg actually booming? What types of properties are hot? And what does it all mean for you? Whether you want a place you're renting, you're just kind of curious about it all.
Right.
So let's jump in. First off, this report is packed with numbers.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things that jumps out is that sales on MLS. So that's the multiple listing service for anyone who's not familiar.
Right.
It's the system that real estate agents use. Those sales are way up.
Wow.
Like we're talking 7% higher than last month.
Yeah.
And a full 19% higher than they were last October. So like that's a pretty big sign that we're in what they call a seller's market, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That basically means that there are more buyers than there are houses for sale.
Yeah.
So it's like this big game of musical chairs where everyone's just trying to like grab a seat before the music stops.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, when that happens, people are going to be willing to pay more just to make sure they get a spot.
Yeah, totally. And the report actually shows that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it also says that like the total value of all the sales, what they call dollar volume, is up like 28% since last year.
Oh, wow.
So basically, homes in Winnipeg are selling for a lot more money than they were just a year ago.
That's huge.
Yeah. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
While all those sales are going through the roof, the number of homes that are actually for sale, like what they call active listings, is down 10% from last year.
Interesting.
So you've got this situation where everyone wants to buy, but there aren't that many places to buy. So of course the prices are going to go up.
Yeah, it's classic supply and demand.
Yeah.
Like, think of it this way. Like, if there's this limited edition pair of sneakers that
Yeah.
everyone wants, the price is going to be insane, right?
Yeah,
It's the same with houses. Fewer houses, lots of buyers, sellers can ask for more money.
for sure. Okay, so we've got this big picture of what's happening in Winnipeg.
Right.
But what about when we look at like different types of homes? Like what about those classic detached houses?
Mm-hmm.
The report says that they're definitely hot right now.
Yeah.
Sales are up 19% compared to last year, and the average price is now over $427,000,
Wow.
which is a 7% jump from last year.
Yeah.
So not bad.
Right.
It's
Not
all
like
right.
that at all.
But condos are also doing really well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, condo sales are actually up even more. They're up 24%.
Yeah.
And the average price is now just over $265,000. So that's a 2% increase from last year.
It's interesting to see condos doing so well, alongside detached homes.
Hmm.
It really shows you that there are all sorts of buyers in the market right now. You've got young professionals who want an easy lifestyle. You've got families who are maybe downsizing, and even investors who are trying to get in on the action.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's not just one type of person driving the market.
Exactly.
It's a whole mix of people. But here's another thing. The report says that it's not just happening in Winnipeg itself.
Okay.
Like the areas around Winnipeg are seeing even bigger jumps in detached home sales.
Oh, wow.
So while Winnipeg itself saw an 8% increase, the areas outside the city saw a 13% increase.
So you're saying that maybe people are starting to look outside the city?
Yeah, maybe. It makes you think, right?
It does. Maybe they want more space or a quieter lifestyle, or maybe it's all about being able to afford something.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason is, those areas around Winnipeg are starting to look pretty good to a lot of people.
Yeah, and the report even calls out a few specific spots that are really booming, like Steinbach.
Okay.
They had a 21% jump in detached home sales. And then Niverville Richard, they are leading the way with a 34% increase.
That's huge.
Yeah, those are some serious numbers.
It is interesting, though, because remember how we were talking about interest rates going up?
Yeah.
You'd think that would slow things down.
Right.
But in places like Steinbach and Niverville Richard, where homes are already more affordable, those higher interest rates might not matter as much.
Right. It's all relative.
Exactly.
Okay, hold on. Before we move on, I got to share a few more things from this report.
Okay.
It tells us which neighborhoods in Winnipeg are the hottest for detached homes right now. And it looks like Waverly West and Polo Park are the places to be.
Fancy.
Right. And get this, 17 detached homes in Winnipeg sold for over $1 million just in October.
What?
The most expensive one went for over $2.3 million.
That's incredible. It really gives you a sense of just how high-end the market is here. And it's not just about those $1 million listings. The report also breaks down the most popular price ranges for different types of homes, which I think is really helpful for anyone who's trying to figure out what they can actually afford.
Yeah, for sure. For example, right now, most of the detached homes that are selling are going for between $600,000 and $699,999.
Okay.
But for condos, it seems like the sweet spot is somewhere between $150,000 and $174,999.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So it seems like there's something for everyone in Winnipeg, whether you're looking for that luxury life or something more affordable.
Right.
But let's step back from the numbers for a minute.
Okay.
What are the experts actually saying about all this? Well, Daphne Shepard, who's the president of the Winnipeg Regional Real Estate Board, she points out that this is the fourth month in a row where we've seen sales go up. So it's not just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
This market is strong and it's consistent.
That's interesting.
And Marina R. James, who's the CEO of the WRRB, she mentions that they're working on a national level to address the housing crisis. Like, they're pushing for policies that make housing more affordable, and they're supporting new building technologies that could help create more homes.
You know, I really appreciate that the WRREB is being so proactive about this.
Yeah.
The housing crisis is a problem all across Canada, so it's important to have groups like the WRRB working towards solutions that will help everyone.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into the Winnipeg market.
We have.
It's clear that things are heating up here with lots of different factors influencing those prices.
Right.
But we're just getting started.
Can't wait to see what else we find out.
Me too.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to dive even deeper into the Winnipeg real estate scene.
Sounds good. So you know those rising interest rates we were talking about?
Yeah.
They're a really big deal in the real estate world.
Oh, for sure.
Higher interest rates mean that it costs more to borrow money for a mortgage,
Yeah.
and that can make it harder for people to actually qualify for a loan or to afford their monthly payments.
It's like you're trying to reach the top of a mountain, and someone keeps moving the peak higher and higher.
Right.
So you would think that those higher rates would be like pumping the brakes on the whole market.
Yeah, you would think that.
Right.
But that's the thing about Winnipeg right now. Even with the higher rates, the demand is still so strong. It seems like other things are outweighing the effect of those rates.
Okay, so what kinds of things are we talking about?
Well, one big one is Winnipeg's economy.
Okay.
It's pretty strong and diverse. It's not all based on just one or two industries,
Right.
which makes it more stable. And when the economy is doing well, people feel more confident about buying a home, even if the interest rates are a bit higher.
So it's kind of like having a diverse investment portfolio.
Exactly.
You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
And then on top of that, Winnipeg is still pretty affordable compared to other big Canadian cities,
Yeah.
even with those higher interest rates. So for people who are trying to escape those crazy prices in Toronto or Vancouver, Winnipeg starts to look really good.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's all about perspective.
Right. Absolutely.
What might seem expensive in one place can be a bargain somewhere else.
Mm,
And it's not just the affordability.
right.
Winnipeg's population has also been growing steadily, and that puts more pressure on the housing supply.
Oh, for sure. Population growth is a huge factor when it comes to housing demand.
Uh-huh.
More people means more competition for homes, which can lead to those bidding wars and drive prices up.
Yeah, that supply and demand thing again.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got this strong demand fueled by a good economy, relative affordability, and a growing population. But what about the supply side? We talked about how the number of homes for sale is down,
Right.
but like, why is that? Are they just not building enough new homes?
Well, that's part of it. New construction hasn't really kept up with the population growth in a lot of Canada, including Winnipeg. But it's not just about new homes. It's also that people are choosing to stay in their current homes longer.
Oh, interesting. So even if they wanted to move, they can't.
Well, it's more like they're choosing not to move.
Okay.
With interest rates going up, a lot of homeowners don't want to sell their homes and then have to get a new mortgage at a much higher rate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're thinking, why should I give up my low interest rate when it would cost me so much more to borrow money now?
Right.
So they decide to stay put, and that means even fewer homes are available for sale.
It's like a domino effect.
It is.
One thing leads to another, and all of a sudden you've got this really tight housing market.
Exactly.
Okay, so just to recap,
Mm-hmm.
we've got strong demand,
Yeah.
limited supply,
Right.
and those unpredictable interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. But the key takeaway is that the market is always changing. It's not just about one number, like the average home price. You have to look at the whole picture
Yeah.
to really understand what's going on.
So what does this all mean for people in Winnipeg, whether
Whoa.
they're looking to buy, sell, or even just rent?
Well, for buyers, I'd say patience and persistence are really important. It's a
Mm.
competitive market.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared to make multiple offers or maybe compromise on some of your must-haves.
Right.
Having a good real estate agent who knows the local market can be a big help.
It's like having a guide to help you climb Mount Everest.
Exactly. They can help you navigate all the challenges and make the process less overwhelming.
That makes sense. And for sellers, it seems like a great time to be selling.
Yeah.
But it's not like you can just ask for any price and expect the offers to come pouring in.
Right. Even in a hot market, you still have to be strategic.
Yeah.
Price your home competitively, make sure it looks good for buyers.
Mhm.
Remember, they still have choices.
Totally. You don't want your house just sitting there for months because you priced it too high.
Exactly.
But what about renters? It seems like they always get forgotten in all these real estate conversations.
Yeah, it's true.
So how does all this affect them?
Well, unfortunately, a hot housing market usually means a hot rental market too.
Uh-huh.
When fewer people can afford to buy homes, the demand for rentals goes up,
Right.
which drives up rents and makes it harder to find a place to live.
So it's like this pressure cooker effect.
Yeah.
Everything gets squeezed.
Exactly.
It's tough being a renter in a market like this.
It can be. That's why it's so important for renters to know their rights.
Yeah.
And to be aware of the resources that are available to them, that there are organizations that help tenants who are facing challenges in the rental market.
Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
But let's be honest, all this talk about rising prices and bidding wars and market trends, it can be a little overwhelming,
Oh, yeah.
even for people who are really interested in real estate.
I agree. And that brings us to something that we don't often talk about, the psychology of real estate.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because it's not just about numbers in the economy.
Yeah.
It's also about human behavior and emotions.
Okay. I like where you're going with this. Tell me more.
Well, think about it. We hear about things like fear of missing out or buyer's frenzy, driving up prices. When people see prices going up really fast, they feel like they need to jump in before they can't afford it anymore.
It's like seeing a huge line outside a store.
Uh-huh.
You automatically think something amazing must be happening.
Right. And that fear of missing out
Yeah.
can lead to people making rash decisions and paying way too much for a property.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. The more people think prices will keep going up, the more they're willing to pay, and that just pushes prices up even more.
Wow. Okay.
It can be a tough cycle to break.
So what's the answer?
Well, you have to approach the market with a level head,
Yeah.
know your budget, and have a solid plan.
Don't get swept up in the hype.
Exactly.
Okay, we've talked about what's happening now,
Mm-hmm.
but what about the future?
Yeah.
Do you think this boom in Winnipeg is going to last?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
It's hard to predict the future, but we can look at some possible scenarios based on what we know now.
Okay, so what do you think might happen?
Well, one possibility is that the market keeps growing, but at a slower pace.
Okay.
As interest rates stabilize and more homes become available, we might see things cool down a bit.
So a soft landing instead of a crash.
Exactly. Another possibility is that we see a correction in prices. That could happen if interest rates keep going up or if there is a sudden problem with the economy.
So that's not the best case scenario.
No, but it's important to be aware of all the possibilities.
Yeah.
Real estate goes in cycles. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down.
Right.
It's a long game.
It's not a quick way to get rich.
Right.
So no matter what happens, what's the most important thing for our listeners to remember?
I think the key takeaway is that knowledge is power.
Yeah.
The more you know about the market, the better prepared you'll be to make good decisions. Whether you're a homeowner or a renter or thinking about buying a place, staying informed will help you navigate the real estate world and make choices that are right for you.
Absolutely. This deep dive has given you a good understanding of the Winnipeg real estate market.
Right.
But remember, it's just a starting point. Keep learning, ask questions, and don't be afraid to get advice from experts when you need it.
And maybe most importantly, don't let the market control your emotions.
Oh, that's good advice.
Make decisions based on your own needs and your own situation, not on what other people are doing or what you see on the news.
Okay, so we've talked about all these big numbers and trends,
Yeah.
but like, what does it all actually mean for people you know
Yeah.
in Winnipeg? Like, whether they're thinking about buying or selling or even just renting.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in all the headlines and the hype,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, real estate is personal.
Mhm.
It's about finding a place that works for your life, your budget, your dreams, And that's going to be different for everybody.
So true. It's not just about like square footage and how much your house is worth.
Right.
It's about finding a place where you actually feel at home.
Hmm.
But let's be real for a second. The market can be a little intimidating,
Oh, yeah.
especially when you're hearing all this information all the time.
Yeah.
So like, what's the best way to cut through all the noise and make sure you're making good decisions?
Well, I think the first thing is to do your research. Don't just listen to what you see on social media or what other people are saying.
Yeah.
Really dig into the data, read reports like the one we've been talking about today,
Hmm.
and talk to some local experts. A good real estate agent can be a huge help.
It's like having a coach for your real estate journey.
Exactly. They'll help you stay focused and motivated and make sure you're on the right track.
Yeah. But I think beyond the data and the experts, you also have to trust your gut.
Oh, absolutely. Numbers and trends can tell you a lot.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, you have to make a decision that feels right for you. Don't let yourself get pressured into buying or selling just because everyone else is doing it.
So true FOMO, fear of missing out, can be a really powerful thing, especially in a hot market.
It can, but real estate is a long-term game.
Yeah.
You know what might seem like an amazing deal today might not look so good a few years down the road.
Yeah. And on the other hand, sometimes the best opportunities come up when everybody else is panicking.
That's true.
If you could just stay calm and make smart decisions based on what you need and what your goals are, you'll be in a much better position no matter what the market does.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Winnipeg real estate market, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this?
I would say stay curious, stay informed, and stay true to yourself. Real estate can be exciting and challenging and maybe even a little scary sometimes.
Uh-huh.
But with the right knowledge and the right mindset, you can handle all the ups and downs and find a place that truly feels like home.
Well said. And hey, remember, we're always here to help you make sense of it all. If you have any questions or comments or even just stories about your own experiences with real estate, we want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
So until next time, happy house hunting, everybody.